is a really important part of to be a psychologist, to be a psychology student. So let's start with the video where we will learn about research writing. Okay, so let's start with our today's topic, which is research writing. In earlier video, we see how psychologists think, and in that video, we understand that psychologists, we understand and we studied that psychologists also think scientifically. Okay, and theory building is a part of thinking of psychologists. Okay, psychologists think in a way that he can build a theory. So research writing is most important part, because for developing any theory we have to conduct a research. We have to know what is academic research is and how to research on any topic, what are the keys attached to research writing, and how what are the objectives of a good research, what is nature of good research, how to write a research, what is the process, what are the steps attached to research. Everything we have to know about research. So in this video we'll discuss what is research writing, what we have to know before writing and before publishing a research or before joining any research program. Okay, we at any age of life will do something where we have to research. We have some major research projects. A lot of subjects are now developing that for the academic completion one should research something, or one should do some major research projects. So research writing is important part and is most important thing for the society and for the students only. Okay, so now let's start with the keys of research. Keys means what are the terms we are going to get used to, we should get used to before conducting any research. First is problem. Okay, any interrogative sentence statement which asks what relation exists between falana and falana, and what is the difference between this and this. So is girls are more empirically tested and are more have more emotional quotient than men. So there are a lot of type of researches which are with interrogative questions. So anything where we study, observe something, and we understand that there is question arise in our mind is the problem, because it is not defined. So start finding for a solution. If you find the solution, the research is end. Okay, but if you haven't find the solution, then the research is on. Okay, now you have to research the answers. You have to re-examine the concept. If you are not satisfied the answer, you can research also. If you are satisfied with the answer, you can research also. Okay, if you don't get any answer, you can research also. Okay, so now it is what is problem is. Now hypothesis, any assumption we make, by after describing our problem is hypothesis, which is testable, which can we can test. Okay, so a testable, if we go by definition, a testable statement of potential relationship between two or more variable is called hypothesis. Okay, where we can establish a relationship between two variables. Okay, so we'll see what variable is. Now understand what are the type of hypothesis. First, we can say null and directional. Okay, so directional, what is directional? If I say ki this have more and more, this variable is dependent on it, and this variable, if this variable is more, this variable is more. So there is a direction that girls are more emotionally stable than boys. Boys are more emotionally stable than girls. It has a direction where it is go. The boys' score will go in this direction, in the upward direction, or the score will go in upward direction. So there is direction attached to our hypothesis, our assumption. There is a direction attached to it. But in null hypothesis, what null hypothesis is? There is no difference, there is nothing wrong with this thing. Okay, there is no difference between emotional quotient. So every research you start, you see ki I am starting a research with the directional hypothesis, but the null hypothesis will be there always. If you have started any research with null hypothesis, there is chances where it could be directional hypothesis attached to it. If you are studying anything, so there is chances that you made an assumption that this is higher in male or lower in female, but you get when you statistically test it, the variable whatever the score you got on that variable, you will find that there is no such specific difference. So this is a null hypothesis, and we accept null hypothesis in this part. Now what is variable? Variable is any measurable attribute of object. things or being is called variable. If your anger is variable, your gender is a variable, your personality type is variable, everything which can vary is variable. Which can vary is variable. That is the simple definition of variable. Now there are a lot of type of variables. First is dependent, independent, extraneous, which we can say control variable. So what is dependent? Which is observed or recorded or predictable. Okay, it is dependent. Your aggression is dependent on your gender. Okay, so aggression is dependent variable on gender. Your aggression is dependent on your anger management. So anger management jitna badhiya, anger management is good, then anger is less. Okay, so dependent variable. Anger variable, anger is variable. Anger management is variable. Gender is variable. Everything which can vary is variable. Okay, so dependent variable is what? That variable which is varying, which variable which vary is dependent on any other variable. And on what variable it will be dependent? It will be dependent on an independent variable. Your gender is an independent variable. Okay, I can choose a male or female population for my study. I can make observation in any type of gender or any type of any strata of society, any class of society, any age of life. Okay, so all the things are variable. They are independent. Age is dependent on what time. Gender is dependent on what chromosome. Other than it, it is dependent on any other factor. No. Okay, it is not. It is not. Associated with any factor, or it is not affected by any factor. Okay, so now this type of variable which are dependent on no thing or just few things are what are independent variable. Now we'll see what is control variable is. Control variable, we can say extraneous variable, those controlled by a researcher in the research. Okay, manipulate those are manipulated by researcher are independent variable, like your male or female, I can manipulate this, but controlled by a researcher in the variable, that I am controlling the age. Okay, I am controlling the age, I am controlling the this things, I am controlling this factor, I am controlling this variable. Okay, I'll take only people with type A, type B. So variables are there, variable is variable only, but the way they are adopted in the research, they are classified as dependent, independent, and categorized as and classified as independent, dependent, and control variable. Okay, so we can control variance by controlling the variable. Okay, eliminating something, balancing something, randomizing, counter balancing something. We can use male female exact ratio to counterbalance this thing. We can use a lot of type of variables. So now when you start doing research, you will get to know variable is not so difficult. It just look like variable is so difficult. So now the next, which is sample and sampling. Sampling is a process where a portion of population or universe as representative of the population or universe. Okay, so we took few people from our society. Why? What the person will do? They will represent the society in what? They will represent the society in the research. We cannot conduct a research on whole society. So we took few people from them there, and we conduct research on it. So sample size, we can identify the sample size should be of 30 people, the sample size should be of 40 people, 50 people from the class, 50 people from the school. So it is the whole population. From that we have took the sample. The sample should be statistically correct and match the needs of population. It should be like population only. Okay, if you are having girls and boys in your class in 1:4, okay, so you should take out a sample which is in 1:4. If you are not doing so, there is sampling error. Okay, now research design. We have understand all the things. Now we have to write. What will we write? What will we discuss? We have to write and discuss in a appropriate manner. We have to plan research. Okay, so first research design. What is research design? Is a plan and structure of investigation. So conceived as to be obtained answer and research to the research problem. So research design is plan and structure. We structuralize it. We plan something for our research. We plan that we'll do this thing. Okay, so what research design do is to provide correct answer to the research questions. If we in a whole research process, if we have any type of question, the research design will solve it. Okay, how the result design will solve it, if you will get to know when you practice doing research, that research design is already designed. We have already planned what we have to do, what is the next step, we know what is the next step, how to control variance, how to control the emotions, and how to do all the things. Research design will do it. So now another keys are tool use. What are the tools we use to assess personality, to study our variable? Is are the tools. Process is the only process we following. The process we follow doing a research is process only. Statistical analysis is hypothesis testing. When we test our hypothesis, our assumption on statistical tools. Okay, we study what is the level of confidence, what are the degree of freedom, what is mean, median, mode. Okay, everything statistically we are checking. How we are doing is we assess a variable on a psychological test where we provide numbers, and then after watching to the numbers and after looking to the numbers, summing up them, and we identify the variance in it. We identify the statistically, we analyze the or conducted data. So now let's understand what is research. Research, we know research, go around, to go around. Concept, we have to research a concept. We have to re-explore something which is uncovered. So this is only research. So research is defined as the creation of new knowledge and or the use of existing knowledge in a new and creative way so as to generate new concept, methodology, and understanding. As we already know that psychology, in psychology what we do is we are what we are another goal of psychology is to like cut off all the exceptions we are doing. Okay, we are attaining all the goals in a way that we someday will like end all the exception in psychology. Okay, there will be no exception in our subject. So that is how research, that is why research is important. Research is important. The research do this thing only. It generate new concept, methodology, and understanding, and it deny and it contradict the earlier perceived interest or earlier perceived theories. Okay, so this is how research works. This is what a research is. And now let's see definition of research. What how to define a research. So this is definition by Best and Kahn. They say research may be defined as the systematic and objective analysis and recording of controlled observation that may lead to the development of generalization principle or theory resulting in prediction and possibly ultimately control of event. So whatever we said it is in the definition only. You can know the definition, you can learn the definition, you can decode it anytime to know the actual process of research and what is research. Okay, so now scope and importance of research. Scope of behavioral study. If listen, we are talking about researches, but we are studying what? We are studying psychology. So everywhere, wherever I am seeing research, I am talking about psychological research. Okay, only. A scope of behavioral study in psychology is very broad. Behavior, we already know everything a person do is behavior. What a person do, what is in everything? Everything has a lot of thing in it. A person is doing a lot of things in his life. Everything is doing is research. Okay, so that is how we can know that there is huge scope. Okay, there is huge scope of research in behavioral studies. It includes simple reflexes, common responses, pattern, verbal reports about feeling and internal state, and complex behavior as variability in behavior. Okay, so it is simple. You guys can understand it. Psychological research is the core unit of investigation, the mental process for defining the behavior and establishment of new theories. I guess this is also clear to you guys. 4 point, psychological research are based on scientific process. Obviously, it have objectivity, methodology, replication, generalization, prediction, and self-correction. All the things which are in the bracket are essential part for a research. Okay, it should be there in a research. That is why it is written in the scientific process. Okay, we'll study this concept, objectivity, methodology, replication, generalization also. But let's move to type of researches we have. So if we say about psychological research, there is a definition by T.M. Toe. He say we may include under the term psychological research all inquiries into problem within the sphere of psychology. What he says, we may include under the term psychological research, we may include what in psychological research? All inquiries into problem within the sphere of psychology. Any inquiry toward any problem or into any problem in the sphere of psychology, it is concerned with psychology, is psychological research only. So basically now understand fundamentally how many type of researches are there. There are two type of researches mainly. First is theoretical, second is empirical. Theoretical is based on different theories from other subject. Any subject you choose, they have different theories. So what we do is we understand that theory, we study that theory, we do not collect new data, we follow used data. Secondary data is dependent on establishment of theory, and to establish a new theory, I study already said theory, I study it, I use the concept and all the data they have collected, I use the secondary data and develop a new concept. Okay, so this is a theoretical part where I am not doing anything, where I am not going in the field, I am not doing it. Can be done in a room with a laptop. It does not require anything. It can be directly done in a room. Now empirical research. Empirical research is on whose nature is experiment and whose procedure makes scientific evolution of the problem. Empirically, where we test something, where we are testing some research, where we are testing some variable, we are testing some correlation, we are testing some effect, cause and effect is there. So empirical, we know what empirical means, and empirical research is what? Based on empirical evidences, based on empirical attitude of the researcher. Types of researchers, it is researches is type of empirical researchers. Let's see. Observational research, where we observe the things, calculate it, and spend. Okay, we theoretize it in a way. So this is observational, where the researcher is doing what? Researcher is just observing and making observations toward any society, toward any gender, toward any age of thing. Okay, so theory building, for theory building, observations are there. Piaget studied the child, and at every age of child, he discovered that what are the traits attached to it. So this is kind of an observational research. Now, correlational and non-experimental research. Correlational is where we find relation between two variables. Okay, we try to find a variation between anger and family environment. If family environment is bad, anger is there. So this is where what we are doing, we are finding correlation. There could be positive, negative, no real correlation between it. But the hypothesis is what? Hypothesis is to find the correlation between these things. Now, third is experimental research. Experimental research, where we do a literal action and experiment. We study independence and dependent variable. We study cause and effect is experimental research. So cause and effect is studied in experimental research. Okay, so the type of comparative studies and all are in experimental research only. Another type, when you are there for establishment of theory, you can use fundamental research and pure research, where you are just exploring the concept, and you form the concept, and you said that this concept is theoretically valid, and I have researched it so well. So it is pure and fundamental research. And there is another type of research where is applied research. Established theory is examined under realistic condition. We are studying Bandura's theory, and we collect few students and we do the same experiment Bandura did in his time, and we understand that the cause and effect is there same or not. So we are checking, we are evaluating, or we are examining, or we use that same thing to develop our theory, which is required. If we are observational learning we are doing, and we are following Bandura's thing, and we are having another theory, another research we are conducting, which is a similar topic toward observational learning, so we can use that research part. Okay, so this type of research is applied research, where you apply the already researched theory and phenomena to your research. Now, process of research, this is a simple process. First, selection, research topic and research problem. So how to select? A lot of time when we are doing academic research, people ask me how to find a good topic of research where I not fail and like completing, because research somewhere in psychology, people think statistic and research is really tough. So they are like, how to decide a topic? I know topic, but how to decide? I say that this is my concept only. That first know your population. First know what kind of population is easily available to you. If you are mother, or if you are working in a cancer hospital, so you can conduct a research on cancer patients. Why? Because you have a great population of it. You have a great representation of it. because in a research you will need sample. Where will you collect from sample? So your research will end at some time. So you have to take a topic, you have to think a research problem which you can survive till conclusion. You cannot like in mid research, if you have nothing to go and you have nothing to do, and you had a dead end in the research. So first know what is population you have. Now you can try and experiment research on that population. Okay, so formulation of hypothesis. You identify the research. Now you have to formulate a hypothesis. I guess you guys know what hypothesis is and how to formulate a hypothesis. Now variable distribution. We distribute the variable. We see that aggression is there and male and female is there. So we classify independent variable, what is dependent, what is independent, and then what we do, we perform a methodology. We collect sample from the society, and then test our variable on them, follow the research design and test the data how to test the variable. We collect data from the society according to that variable. We collect data of aggression in the boys and we collect data of aggression in the girls. Okay, that's how we collect the data. And what we do is we understand the variable, and then we check our hypothesis and processes. Okay, we and what we do is we understand the variable, and then we check our hypothesis and processes. Okay, we publish a result, discussion and interpretation toward it, ki what are the application of it, how to use it, and what is the importance of it, and objectivity and all should be there. And then conclusion where we are like, this kind of research was there and people did this, and this is this and this. Okay, this is conclusion. You know how to write a conclusion, you know what is conclusion, so I don't have to explain more conclusion. Now report writing. You have conducted a research, you have conducted, now you have to write, publish it. You have to go for the publisher and say that these are my pages, now publish it. It won't, so there you have to write a report. So in psychology we follow APA format for writing a research. So go through it and know what APA format is. You should have good editing skills to edit your research in APA format, so it will get published or it will get accepted easily. First, report writing. First is there is title page where we define what is the this, who conducted in, who was the mentor, time, everything, year, or if it is under any banner, so we mention it also. Abstraction, you know what abstraction is, you know what introduction is, methodology where we explain our sample, tools we use, procedure we followed, and then we see how we evaluated the variable is in the methodology, and what result we got is the result part. And then there is another chapter, discussion and interpretation, and then conclusion. You can say that all these 7 things are chapters of research. There are 7 chapters of research. First, not 7 chapters, we can say there are 5 chapters, and 3 are the introduction, like title page, abstraction are there. But introduction is the first chapter of research, then methodology, then result, then discussion and interpretation, then conclusion. So all the topics and all the things are there in research. Now feature of good research. As we already said that scientific research, research follow a scientific process, it follow a scientific practice. So objectivity is there. We are not subjective toward it. We are looking into matter from a observational point of view. So a good research should be objective. You are not conducting a research on yourself and publishing it. It won't be good. Okay, you are observing something and you have to attain objectivity. We have to observe first. We should not get subjective. Do not get subjective. What should we do? We know what should we do. We should think like psychology. We should avoid biases. Okay, so objectivity, generalization. The theory I have built, the thing, whatever the research say, should be generalized. We study problem in the population. We took a sample. We studied the sample. Then we build a theory. Okay, we conducted research and then we build a theory. Now that theory which we have developed by using the sample should be generalized to the population. That theory should be generalized to the population. If the sample is good representative of the population, the theory you conducted, the research you conducted will be generalized for the population. So this is how this is the most important thing for our research. Now scientific process, you know what scientific process is. We have to check for the evidences, we have to examine, we have to go scientifically, we have to observe, we have to avoid biases. Everything which is we have studied till now should be in scientific process. Empirically test it and do whatever the stuff is said based on specific research design. If you are following a research design designed by APA, then it will be get published only. Okay, if you are following, there are a lot of kind of research design. We follow APA format. There are 2-3 format which are used in different countries. And if you are you want to publish a research, you should know what research design will help you to publish the research. Okay, so follow research design and follow that rules and regulation attached to it. Now it should have a quality of replication. Why how a research will have a theory which that skill, how a research will have quality of replication. The research will only have quality of replication when it could be generalized. When you can generalize this thing, then another person who is studying the same phenomena can use your research as the foundation, as the base, as a review of literature. Okay, you know what review of literature, when we the said literature about the same thing is review of literature. So we look into the matter, we understand what is the literature associated with it, and we study the literature, and then we proceed for our research. So your theory should have a quality to be replicated, to be researched again and re-examined, re-evaluated again. So these are the qualities of good research. So this is all for you for research. This is the only thing, this is all the things you should know now for the research. Eventually you will understand what is research when you get practical knowledge, and when you have to perform a practical research, you will understand this process more thoroughly. Okay, so that's this up from my side. Thank you for being there. That's all for today's session, guys. We'll meet in the next